There is a lot going on in the world today, but there is one thing that we can all agree on is this. We do not enjoy watching people in the government, especially in Congress, making money in the stock market, especially using information that we, the public, do not have. Now, there are several people who are infamous for doing this, and one of the faces is one Congresswoman, Nancy Pelosi. Now, technically speaking, especially according to the paperwork, it is her husband. Now, there were some trades that were recently published or disclosed, and we need to break down exactly what those trades were and whether or not you should at least take a look into them, because some of them have been quite interesting. In fact, since 2014, she's up more than 800%, and compared to the S&P 500, the S&P has only been up 200% over that time frame. And the two of them have been quite good, because since 2014, she is up 800% at the time of doing this video, which is lapping the S&P 500 by a mile. So what are the things she invested in? What are my thoughts on it? And what can we learn as investors? Let's go ahead and break it down. I'm going to start off by the things that she bought. We'll talk a little bit about the sales, because what is the most important thing here? We can learn the most by the things that you buy, because you only buy for one reason. That is because you think that asset is going to rise, that stock is going to rise. You don't buy something because you think you are going to lose money on it. So what are the things that were bought? When you look at the filings, there are a few things you need to know. There are straight up buys, right, when you just buy 50 or 5,000 shares in the case of these acquisitions, or you can what is called exercising an option. Right, an option contract. We did a video on options. If you want to learn how options work, you can check out this video right here. But you can exercise an option contract, which means that, hey, I've said I'm going to buy these shares, or I have a contract rather that says if the price gets to this point, I can buy these shares at this very specific price. If you exercise that option, you get those shares. So that is what happened as well. So those are the shares, and that's how those shares were acquired in some of these cases. So the first one here was Google. I would argue that Google is my favorite stock of this list. At the time I'm doing this recording, which is on a Monday, Google is up 72% in the last 6 months and up 66% over the last year. Looking at this right now, early 2026, Google is the current winner of the AI race, and they are the most diversified company, because not only are they well entrenched in AI, but they also have YouTube. They also have YouTube TV, and they have a bunch of other levers to pull, not just we do AI, we're an AI company right now. That is one of the areas, but again, they've got a lot of things to do, and we're going to talk about Apple later in this week and what they are doing in that space with Google. So that is a little foreshadowing there as well. Next, they also bought AllianceBernstein. That stock symbol is AB. Interesting here. I don't know how I feel about it, but because they're investing in it, her and her husband, I'm going to take a look. Now, the reason why I say it's interesting, because the stock is not good. It's down negative 2% in the last 6 months and up, down 2% in the last 6 months and only up 2% in last year. Now, me, I'm more of a momentum investor, meaning I like to ride the wave. If the stock is doing well, I at least pay attention to it and decide whether or not I want to invest in it. What I'm not going to do is pour money into a company that's not doing well. Now, there are some people that say, hey, look, well, buy low, sell high, and that in some cases does work, except that if a stock is sinking, it's going to cost more money or take more of that stock just to break even. If you're telling me the stock market was up 15 or 17% last year and you lost 2%, it's a hard road up for you, player, for you to even catch up to me, and I'm up double digits. Why do that? If you just told me that Google was up 72, who do you think is going to win that race? Okay, how much do you need to make just to break even before you even talk about getting up 72%? Okay, and that's not to say that AllianceBernstein is going to do that, but let's just play the odds here. Which one of those you think is going to win? All right, so anyway, bought AllianceBernstein. Next here is Amazon. Amazon is back to doing Amazon things, which is not great. I say that because you guys, if you've been a subscriber of this channel, which you should do, this is your opportunity to go on, hit that subscribe button. Amazon is only up 3% in the last 6 months and only up 1% over the last year at the time I'm doing this recording. Not great. not great. Now what I need to do is, and maybe we can do this in a different video, or I can put a graphic up on the screen. We'll see, depends on what else happens this week, because there's a lot of breaking news and there will be some earnings reports coming out this week. But in either case, Amazon has had a spotty track record, I would say, over the last 5 years or so. Previously, let's say 2010 to 2019, Amazon was one of the top 5 to 7 performing stocks. Once we hit the pandemic or so, things started to fall off where they were not one of the top performing stocks. And right now, though it is early in 2026, it ain't that. A savings account has beaten Amazon in the last 6 months and over the last year, like 1% in the last year. That's not cutting it. Now, I would argue, without digging deeper, I would argue that's definitely tariff related. That's definitely layoff related. Right around this time, you lost a ton of federal jobs. We know AI took out a lot of jobs as well. I wouldn't be shopping a ton on Amazon either. That is likely related to that. Now, NVIDIA was bought up by the Pelosi family, up 7% in the last 6 months, up 30% over the last year. It is what it is. We are used to, some people are used to and anchored in NVIDIA being up 200 and some odd percent. That's good. 30% last year is good. I'm not going to, bemoan that type of performance. And then we have Vistera, VST. We've talked about this stock in the past. I believe we've done an entire video the last time the Pelosi family bought shares into this company. Now, this one is down negative 17% in the last 6 months and down 16% over last year. If you ask me, it ain't worth looking deeper into. I'm not spending my time looking into a stock that's down double digits and there's apparently trash. Why dig into a dumpster for me? Okay, that I got clients to talk to, I got videos to make, I got things I gotta edit, I got to be a good father to my kids. I'm not gonna be digging into research for a terrible stock. And by not spending time talking about a terrible stock, I can help the people who feel like, hey, I've done all the right things, I've checked all the boxes, but I still feel like, hey, I am behind. You are not alone in that category, and I'm a financial planner, and I can help you to build a plan that helps build clarity, build confidence, and build momentum by creating a financial plan that helps you build clarity, confidence, and momentum in this economy. If you want to talk one-on-one, go to buildingbread.com/callkev. Now, what were these stocks that were sold? Now, even though I don't put a ton of, I can't figure out another word, stock, or let's say credibility into selling, right, and what that means for all of us, it is interesting to see. Apple was one of the stocks that were sold, and this is not an entire inclusive list here, but Apple was interesting because Apple was one of the better stocks out there. Now, the reason why I don't say, hey, this person sold, we all need to sell, or this really means a ton of information like I do with buying, is because, again, you learn a lot when somebody buys. They believe in it. That tells us, hey, they think there's going to be a profit there. Well, selling could be, hey, Apple has been up. All right, I already told you we're going to talk a little bit about Apple later this week. Well, you could have been selling Apple because you made so much money, you're taking profit off the table. You could be going on vacation and Apple is paying for that. That could be a reason why you're selling Apple, not necessarily that something is wrong with Apple. PayPal sold all of that. Well, I'm sorry, not sold all of it. Sold a significant portion of Apple. Significant according to, if you sell 10,000 shares, that's significant to me, right? Because that's a lot of money. To me, I don't have $400,000 or $400 million in net worth. But in either case, I haven't been a fan of PayPal since like 2021. It just feels like it's been a slide. I would argue that PayPal has been unfairly punished, as well as Square, since then. And then, interestingly enough, also sold Disney. Now, I haven't found Disney that attractive of a stock. I would argue it's only been good maybe once in the past, let's call it 15 years, and that was during the pandemic. Disney is a stock for nostalgia purposes, and I've got the video and the case to prove that. I went to Disney, me and the family, and analyzed Disney right there in the park, right? A few times. We've done several videos on Disney and why it hasn't been all that great, and ESPN is a part of the reason why, due to the cost of Disney. If you want to learn more about why I don't really love Disney, the stock, and what is going on with the company, you can check out this video right here.